Good day, gentlemen and ladies, if any. Welcome back to Ozzy's C3 project for beginners. Today we're going to be taking apart one half of the front suspension, pretty much the same on both sides. So I did a little pre-work, otherwise the video would be hours long. I loosened all the bolts, I took the brakes off. I'm assuming that most people know how to take off a rotor and a caliper. I'm saving the calipers. I was going to go with new old wood brakes, but I'm looking at these and they actually look like they're in pretty good shape. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear them down, I'm going to take them in, have them powder coated and rebuild them and save myself some money. But I'm still going to go with new slotted and cut rotors. Okay, I've already disconnected the front sway bar. It's just one bolt, comes right off. So let's go ahead and take the rest of it apart. We're going to start with the steering arm. I've loosened the nut, it's right here. It is a 17 mil. It's supposed to have a cotter pin through it, mine did not. But I loosened it with this and it basically took it right off. There's the 17 right there. Yeah, it's a 17 mil. You're going to find at the front end of these cars, there are some bolts that are metric, some that are SAI, I think is how it's said, or ASI. I don't know, I get it backwards. The two main spindle bolts are 19 mil. These are also 19s. That hold the upper control arm in place. The shock actually gave me the most trouble. The bolt spins. So there's a grab on the top, you have to grab it and hold it and then spin the bolt off as far as you can, then grab it from underneath and spin it off the rest of the way. I got it loose. I've got the two end bolts for the upper control arm loose. I do not have the ball joints loose. I'm going to pound those out once I get the whole thing apart. So theoretically, all I got to do is take off some of these bolts and the whole thing should basically fall apart. All your bolts at the bottom of your ball joints have cotter pins, so make sure you get those out before you try turning them, otherwise you're going to be breaking your neck trying to get them out. The upper and lower have them. The steering arm or outer tie rod has them. A couple of things. You see there's shims in here. If you're going to stay with your stock suspension, I'm not. I bought new uppers and lowers. Take pictures of this. The reason is you want to try and put them back exactly the way it is. Also, mark the tie rods where the threads go into the sleeve. I usually use whiteout or nail polish. Reason being is if you take them out and clean them or you change them, you can put them back theoretically really close to where they were. That way, when you put the car back together again, you can drive it to the alignment shop. It isn't going to be all over the place if you want to. It just gets it close. It's not going to align it, but it will get it close. So let's start taking these off. This is the outer tie rod. Here's the bolt. Again, 17 mil. Now that's been in there a long time, so I may have to help it. Wanting to go. I should have probably loosened it before there it goes. If you're going to do that and keep that tie rod, which I wouldn't suggest doing, replace it. Put the nut on before you start hammering on it. Pop it loose, then take the nut off. All right, so the spindle is loose. The only thing holding on are the two spindle nuts, which are both 19 mil, and I thought they were off all the way, but they're giving me trouble. Here they are right here. You had to use a socket that wobbles a little if you're going to use a power drill because of the angle. So let's get that one off. And the top one, we're going to have to use a wrench on because there's not room. Oh, I got it loose enough. Okay. You'll have to use a wrench on the top one. There's no room for the drill to get in there. All right, so theoretically, I should be able to just pop the upper control arm up in the air. Yeah, it's not gonna go by hand. And the spindle should fall out. I'm gonna go with a little bit bigger of a persuader, go with a 2-pound persuader, and see if it goes a little bit easier. No, it's being difficult. Might have to go to the 5-pound persuader. I got one over there. Yeah, let's go to the big one. It's been on there for, what, 30 years, so give or take. So I'm not surprised that it's giving me trouble. Right size of persuasion. As you can see, the spring popped, which I was expecting. Luckily I hadn't, if I hadn't unbolted the shock, that spring wouldn't have popped like that, but I wanted it to. Because now, once I get it off the bottom, I'll be able to just pull the spring and shock out of there. And the one mistake I did make was I did not loosen the lower control arm bolts. And I think they're also 17s. No, they're much smaller than that. All right, then on the 14s. Yes, they're 15s, which I put back. I'll grab the 15 and the 16 just in case. There it is. Wait. The right tools, stuff goes a lot faster. This Milwaukee, I've told you guys about this thing before, and it'll basically do anything you want it to do, including it'll take lugs off a truck. So let's get these two off. Decided to turn, which I think that's going to be a 17 also. Yep, that's exactly what that is. So it's a 17 inside and outside. The ball joints are different. They're a 12 millimeter on top and a 13 millimeter on the nut. That's why I decided to wait to take them off, because they're being kind of a pain. So you notice I'm not worried about keeping any of these, because I already said I've got new uppers and lowers. So, all right, there's your uppers off. We'll keep these just in case, but I'm assuming I'm going to replace them, but I'll keep them just in case and put them in the file. Mark them and file them. All right, so the upper is off, the bolts are out of the lower. I'm not sure. I think there's still a rod there holding the up. Yeah, there is. There's a rod still holding the upper end. That lower is not going to come out without a lot of complaining. So I wasn't sure about that, so I didn't loosen it. I probably should have loosened the lower shock bolts also to get that spring out of there quicker, but let's work on getting this lower off. See what's holding it on. Again, that's why this is for amateurs, because like so many others, this is my first time doing some of this. So, and this lower is all bent up. That's part of the problem also. We got a big bolt holding the crossbar on that side. So let's see if we can figure out what size that is. Let's start with the, okay, it's bigger than 11/16. It's got one large bolt on the inside and two smaller ones on the outside. Let's go to a 20 mil. I have a feeling it's metric. It's going to be a 21. That's exactly what it is. And there's going to be a nut on the bottom. Don't know. Yeah, that's the biggest one I got. 21. Of course, the nut is bigger, so we're going to have to figure out what size it is. It's probably a 22. Let's see if I can use a 22 on it. Wrench. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. I don't want this keep you guys for hours because I know it's kind of boring after a little while. All right. Alrighty, let's see what now this side is just coming up. I'm going to use a 14 first, see if that's it. That is not. I had a 15 here. There it is. It is not a 15. I had a. That's too big. There it is right there. Success. All right. So there's your upper, your lower, your spindle. Outer tie rod is disconnected. The sway bar is just a couple of bolts, front and back. Take that off. My suggestion, if you want the car to handle a little better, but still do it on a budget, go to a larger, I think this is a 3/4, go to an inch and a quarter sway bar with some upscale bushings. It's basically rinse and repeat on the other side. I'm not gonna make you watch me do both sides. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe to my channel, tell your friends, and please, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'll be glad to answer them if I can. Thanks again, and good luck with your projects. And I will see you again. The next step is going to be, I'm sending things out for powder coating, the brakes. The next step is going to be taking the steering system off. We're going to go rack and pinion. By then I'll have the other side of the suspension off also. So we'll keep working on the front end one piece at a time. So the next time you see me, I should have the whole front suspension off, and we're going to be working on the steering, getting rid of that old-fashioned steering box, going rack and pinion. As you can see, it was all leaking over the years anyway. Have a good day, and like I said, please subscribe, hit that like button if you thought the video was informative. Let me know what you think. Thank you.